Welcome, you're watching ZigWheels. My name's Arun, and that is the all new Ford Aspire. Actually, it's not all new, but in a lot of different ways, it's promising to be better than before.
But before we carry on, don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell to stay notified.
First things first, the Aspire is lighter on the pocket compared to the version it replaces. The petrol variants are about 16,000 rupees cheaper, and if you're looking at the mid-spec Trend variant, that's about 34,000 rupees cheaper. There is a new Trend Plus variant that gets more features and is priced roughly on par as the old Trend variant. If you're looking at diesel, prices are anywhere between 6 to 55,000 rupees less. That is a good start then. And the good news continues because second, the Aspire now looks better. Sure, the updates here are subtle, but they're definitely noticeable. You'll see that new grille with that nice honeycomb-like pattern and a new bumper as well. The headlamps now get a smoked finish. And for that little premium touch, you see some chrome around the grille, around the fog lamps, and inside the headlamp. As you move around to the side, you see another small but significant change. The tires, they're up one size from 14 to 15 inches and they run 195/55 section rubber, just like the older Figo S or the Aspire S. But bear in mind, this is only for the Titanium and the Titanium Plus version. Buy any other variant and you'll still get the VD 175 section R14 tires. Changes to the rear, well, they're subtler still. The shape of the tail lamps, that remains identical, but the detailing inside, that's different. And I'm sure you've spotted the new rear bumper as well. But there is one interesting thing that we spotted. The Figo badge, it's back. See, this is where things get a bit rocky for the updated Aspire, because one of the first things you notice when you look inside the cabin is that the upholstery is now fabric and not leatherette like it used to be. But I'm going to treat that as a blessing in disguise because of two reasons. One, the fabric upholstery is better suited for hot and sultry climate like ours, and two, the leatherette upholstery didn't particularly age well. Now the older issues with the Aspire, they're still there. If you push the passenger seat all the way to the front, it will brush against the center console. There's no storage spaces at the rear, in the rear door pad or in the central armrest. If you have big shoes, the footwell will seem narrow to you. But there is an upside. And that upside is this. Now the old Aspire had a tuned-in music system that had a number pad on the dashboard for whatever reason. This 6.5-inch touchscreen is so much better. It's from the freestyle and it looks in tune with the 21st century. Finally, it gets Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Sync 3, the lot. Of course, it also gets the display for the reversing camera. If you buy the Trend Plus or the Titanium version, you don't get this screen, you get a bigger, yes, bigger 7-inch screen but without Apple or Android support. It does get inbuilt sat-nav though. Also limited only to the top spec Titanium Plus are automatic headlamps, rain sensing wipers and an auto dimming rear view mirror. A lot of features have been carried over as is from the old car as well, like automatic climate control, power operated and folding mirrors and steering mounted audio controls. The instrument cluster looks the same as before as well, but it does pack in a bigger MID that displays a host of information including which specific door is open. Space isn't any different either. It still is amongst the roomiest compact sedans on sale and your family should be happy spending time here, not jostling for room all the time. Sure, knee room isn't as much as the new Honda Amaze or the Maruti Dzire, and taller occupants will feel a lack in headroom, especially at the rear, but overall it's par for the segment. But all the changes we spoke about were on the surface. There are changes that are more than just skin deep, chief of which is the new petrol engine. There's a new 1.2-liter Dragon 3-cylinder engine that we've seen in the Freestyle, and that makes 96 horsepower and 120 Newton meters of torque. Now if you compare it to the old 1.2, that was a bit thunder, if you know what I mean. It took its own sweet time to get going, but this It's the opposite of that. Much like the Freestyle, it's very quick to rev up and it's equally easy to drive if you want to drive like someone's chasing you, or if you want to just chill, relax and take it easy. What's also nice is that the controls, they're very light, be it the clutch, the steering or the gearbox. So it is easy and fun. Downsides, it isn't as buttery smooth as Maruti's K12 or even Honda's 1.2 i VTEC for that matter. It is a 3-cylinder engine, there is no balancer shaft, so vibrations do creep in on the floorboard and on the pedals, especially during startup and idle. But get a move on and those vibrations take a back seat. And might we add, if you want to push this motor, it does make a pretty sweet sound. Listen to this. Now it's time to talk about the friendly, familiar and fun 1.5 litre diesel. Now, nothing's changed here. It still makes 100 horsepower, 215 Newton meters of torque, and it just pulls and pulls and pulls. But the big difference here is this, the gearbox. It's using the same setup from the Petrol Aspire and it just complements that engine beautifully. Now we have to say it's one of the most fun diesel compact sedans on the market easily. Now let's take a moment to talk about the ride quality. The suspension setup, that's not any different from the old car except to account for the bigger wheels and tires, but you will find a noticeable difference in ride quality, and you'd pick on this when you're driving at low speeds inside the city, going over those speed breakers and potholes. Now we're driving majorly on Jodhpur's highways and we hit a lot of sharp bumps at high speeds, and the cabin did remain composed. But yes, as the speeds climb above 80, above 100 kilometers an hour, you feel that sense of float creeping into the cabin, and this is something you'd notice, especially if you're seated at the rear seat. Nothing out of the ordinary here, it's something that's expected. Oh wait, we still haven't spoken about safety yet. So dual airbags and ABS are standard across the range. This top spec variant gets side and curtain airbags as well, taking the tally up to 6. There's hill assist, ESC and traction control too, but only on the automatic variant. The manuals don't get ESC or ARP that the cheaper Ford Freestyle gets. Undoubtedly, the Aspire is a better package than it was before. The biggest takeaway for us is the fact that the petrol is just as desirable as the diesel, and we're amazed because that petrol engine, it's punchy when you want to have fun and it's relaxed when you want to drive calmly. So yeah, if anyone would ask us about the Aspire, earlier we'd heavily tilt in the favor of the diesel, but now the Petrol Aspire is just as good. Yes, a lot of you might argue that it is missing features. There are no projector headlamps, no daytime running lamps, no leather wrap on the steering, no cruise control. But think for a bit, Ford is offering substance in the form of side and curtain airbags over these frills. That is something that you definitely need to weigh in. If Ford could have delivered both while keeping the price competitive, then the Aspire would have been a bigger force to reckon with. Now to answer the final question, should you be spending your money on the Ford Aspire? Now if you can look past the missing wow features and you just need a compact sedan that's easy to drive, fun to drive and has a comfortable ride quality, then the Aspire deserves a spot on your shopping list.